Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday night's live, cooking live with me. We are making today some Tex Mex Hamburger Helper. Awesome. So I have not made this recipe. You get to be part of my test kitchen today. So part of my test kitchen, I'm gonna be making this, and what it is a recipe coming from our Simple Suppers collection. So Simple Suppers collection is our newest meal planning collection. I wanted to let you guys know it's awesome. If you are doing any sort of wanting to help with meal planning and have recipes and grocery lists and all the things done for you, it's perfect. But even if you're not a meal planner and you kind of like to be a little more spontaneous, the recipes included in that, 30 different recipes, are phenomenal. They're all nutritionally balanced. They all, everything that you need to do all the recipes comes with the collection. It's an amazing half price item for anyone who's thinking they might want to host because their wish list has gotten so big since going through the catalog and taking a look through all the products. If your wish list is super big, you might want to host one yourself and be able to get this collection for half price. It is actually the only way right now to get our Ooey Gooey queso, which is part of what's going to come in this recipe. If you are part of Ashley's cooking class this week, check out all the posts. Make sure you go back and flip through them all because again, you're gonna get some, I'm gonna be giving away some freebies, so you wanna make sure you're taking a look at all the posts, making sure you're commenting, and we're gonna get going. So in here, I have ground beef. The recipe is actually a ground turkey recipe. My family's gonna prefer beef over turkey, so I'm gonna do it with beef, but it just shows that all the recipes are very customizable. Maybe you follow a vegetarian or a vegan diet. You could be using veggie ground round in this recipe. You could do ground turkey if you can't do red meat. Like, it's really, really customizable. It's, of course, gluten-free, so Hamburger Helper is one of those things that's typically not gluten-free. I know I grew up with Hamburger Helper and did not like it ever. The taste, it was so salty and just, I don't know, I just never really liked it. And though I have a feeling I'll like this because it's not gonna have that same flavor profile that is like overly salty and processed and has all the extras in it. It's just gonna be super flavorful and give you the same kind of comfort food, which it's pouring rain and storming out the windows right now. So it's so dark outside right now. So I'm grateful for the light that I've got. So I'm gonna be making this Hamburger Helper meal. I'm gonna show you guys a new salad dressing that I've never showed before. And I am going to do it all in the next 20 minutes. So hold on, let's do this. I've got my water boiling already. I'm gonna do my noodles here. I know lots of you said that gluten-free is a must for you. These are noodles I got from Costco. It calls for macaroni noodles, but I wanted to try these noodles because they're really, really delicious. And they're actually made with quinoa is the base of them. And I just need a couple cups of the noodles. But I am gonna make a little extra because I have a big family. So I'm gonna put extra in there. I'm gonna get that all cooked up. And so they're kind of like they're like a macaroni noodle. I don't know if they have a specific name, but they're like, there's red and white quinoa in it. And so it's just really delicious. You can't even tell they're gluten-free. It's one of those noodles that is just like the perfect texture because sometimes gluten-free noodles do not have a very good texture. These ones cook well. They don't get that like bloated, sticky kind of thing that sometimes gluten-free noodles do. I really recommend that. So I'm gonna get that cooking, and in the last minute of the cooking, it says to add peppers to it. So I'm gonna prep my peppers now so that they're ready to go. But first, I think I should get this meat cooking because it's gonna take a little longer. The recipe says to put it in for 4 minutes, but I've got like double the amount of meat in here, so I'm going to need to put it in longer. So I'm gonna start it off at 4 minutes, and then I'm going to use my ground meat separator to break it all up, and then I'm gonna finish cooking it after it's been in for the first bit. So 4 minutes, I'm gonna toss it in here. I know some of you don't have a steamer yet, and you're very familiar with Epicure, but I'm telling you, this steamer is a must. You're gonna see this, 2 pounds of ground beef cooked in less than 10 minutes without having to fuss over the stove with it, because that's like what I used to do, right? Just fuss over the stove with it. Okay, that is cooking. I'm gonna cut up my pepper using, I'm apparently gonna boil that over. I'm gonna take my lid off and let that boil and try to watch it at the same time. This is why I cook everything in the steamer. I make a big mess when I cook using anything other than the steamer. So I'm always multitasking. And perhaps you are the same, where you're multitasking. You've got kids. I've got 4 kids and only 3 are home right now, so they've been warned though. They're not to come in here and yell and scream and allow you to hear all that. I've got a dog at my foot waiting for her cut. She loves the peppers, so she often gets the cut-offs of the peppers. Anybody else feed their dogs veggies? My dogs always come running for the scraps. They're kind of trained to do it because we feed them raw food, so that's how they get their vitamins and nutrients and veggies, is through our veggie cuts. So I've got my pepper here, and it says just to pop it in the water in the last minute, so I'm gonna let my noodles cook a little bit. Yeah, they're doing, they're still kind of hard, so they're good. And then, next I'm going to start heating up the milk. So I've got milk in here, because I've got to make the queso dip. Queso dip, who likes queso dip? Thumbs up if you like queso dip. Show me some hearts, show me some love if you love queso. This is so much healthier for you than what you would buy in the grocery store. I've shown you tons of us versus them. You know that it's gonna be healthier, and it's so simple to make. It's just milk and cheese with this, that's it. So this is gonna be our like hamburger helper sauce. It's gonna be this cheesy queso sauce, which I'm in love with this queso sauce, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love this recipe also. So I'm going to stick the queso sauce in here, and I'm just going to whisk it, and it's going to thicken up, and then I'm gonna toss the cheese in there at the last bit, and then we're gonna mix all the sauce and everything together. You'll notice I'm using my multi-pots today, so I've got the large multi-pot. They are induction friendly. They have strainers in the lid, so I don't need to go get another dish to wash. I can just use the lid and strain the noodles out, and that's gonna save me from having to do another dish, which makes me happy. I should turn this on, I suppose. Okay. All right, I'm gonna just let that be for a bit. I'm gonna cut up my tomatoes. My tomatoes are gonna go on top of my hamburger helper after it's all put together. So it's not added during the mixing process of it, it's added after. I feel like my screen got darker. Weird. That's all right. I think you guys can still see me though. Okay. So these are going to be cut up in no time. And I'm going to show you my dressing. Oh, I forgot to grab my vinegar and my oil. Let me just grab that. Rice wine vinegar. It called for white wine vinegar, but again, Epicure's customizable. If for some reason you don't have a specific ingredient, you can always just use what you have. It might change the flavor a little bit, but it's not gonna wreck a recipe. So I'm going to use the measurements right on the cruet jar to, again, less dishes, to measure out my dressing. And just putting some avocado oil in there. You could use whatever oil is your favorite oil. And the ratio is like a 1/4 cup of this and of the vinegar and a 1/4 cup, and 3/4 of a cup of oil. So I always half my recipes because I don't like to have dressings leftovers sitting in the fridge. I like fresh. So don't mind the bird. She might need to be removed. She's gonna squawk. She likes to compete with my voice. Okay, I've got O Canada. Remember I said I have 12 pets? It's not sunny outside right now, so the bird is inside. Usually on my videos, she's outside, so you can't hear her because she likes to compete with my voice. So I'm gonna stake, this is an O Canada dressing, so I'm not actually doing a dressing from our salad dressing line. I'm making a dressing out of our O Canada, which again shows you how versatile Epicure is. You could make a dressing out of anything. If you're super creative, you could make recipes and share them with me. I'm not super creative. This was shared in our Epicure community, which our community is amazing at sharing. And we have some really, really creative people. So I'm just lucky that I get to be part of the community and they share their brilliance with me because I am not ultra creative. I like to follow the recipes that are found on the website. Even though I'm really bad at following them exactly, I usually alter them a little bit, but I don't come up with something extremely different and out of the way. I would never think to use O Canada as a salad dressing. So that's it. So what I put in there is actually the sweet and spicy mustard. The recipe actually calls for honey mustard. I discovered I'm out, so I thought, hey, let's try out the sweet and spicy mustard and see how that is for dressing. I'm sure it will be delicious. So then we just shake it up, let it sit for a few minutes, and I'm gonna have a delicious dressing. Okay, I'm gonna whisk this a little bit more. I'm gonna check on the meat. I'm gonna do the breaking up of the meat. My noodles are ready to be strained, but first I'm going to pop my peppers in there because you just want them to be lightly cooked. I'm just gonna let that sit there for just a second. Everything happens so fast. I find like I have to move pretty quickly with these recipes because everything cooks so fast. So there's some excess liquid in here. I'm just gonna grab a jar or a dish here. Get a dish ready here. And I'm just gonna drain it a little. What's really cool when you're cooking ground beef in the steamer is it's flexible, so you don't have to work too hard. You can strain it really easily. I'm just gonna pour it into this bowl. And now it should be good. I shouldn't have to strain it again. So I'm just gonna break it up. It's almost actually cooked already. It's only gonna take a couple minutes more. I thought it might take 8 full minutes to cook it, but it's actually probably only gonna take 2, maybe 2.5 more minutes at most. So just like this, with the meat separator, it breaks it all up really fast and easy. If you don't have the Epicure meat separator, you need one. It also makes the best, it's like the best tool to make mashed potatoes. I got rid of my potato masher because I love having less. I don't like having a gadget for everything. I think less is more, and if you can have more multi-purpose tools in your kitchen, that's the key. So this is a meat separator. It's also the best potato masher. I break up my chicken with it too when I'm cooking chicken breasts in here. I also use it to, you can use it to mash up for egg salad. You can also use it for making guacamole, for mashing up guacamole. Like, this is the ultimate multi-purpose tool. Okay, so that is actually almost cooked. So I'm just gonna pop that in for 2 more minutes and it's gonna be ready. My noodles are done, so I'm going to strain them. So with the multi-pot, I just have to simply find there's strainer on both sides, but they're 2 different sized holes. So I just find the hole that I want. And then I can easily pour the hot water down the drain. The handle is designed for It's ergonomically designed so that it doesn't strain your wrist. I actually have some issues with my wrist, so I appreciate that a lot. There's also measurements right in the pot, which is super awesome. Okay, so this is ready for the cheese, as I burn myself here. This is ready for the cheese. I'm gonna dump that cheese in there. It's just shredded cheese. You could use cheddar cheese, which is what is on the recipe. I always have marble cheese because that's what my kids prefer. Again, customizable. I'm gonna take it off the heat now. Just throw it right onto my roll-up rack. So this roll-up rack gives you extra counter space for hot stuff. It works, it has so many uses. I should actually share a video with you guys because it has so many uses. Okay. And now it says the next step is to pour the queso sauce over top of the noodles and peppers. And give it a stir. I'm going to do that. I'm going to use my spatula. Give me a thumbs up if you already own one of these spatulas. Our Epicure spatulas are the best. You will want to throw away all of your old spatulas if you get our utensils. They are lined with steel, so they're super strong. They're also one piece, so you're never going to have the tip of it fall off and get all gross and dirty inside and be a pain in the butt where it's, you know, you pull it out of your drawer and you got to go sift through and find the tip of the spatula. You never have to do that with Epicures. And you got to get the soup ladle. You need the soup ladle. So what's really cool about the soup ladle, let me show you what it looks like. The soup ladle, you can actually scoop out every last drop of soup or sauce or whatever you have in a pot with this ladle without having to pick up the pot and turn it. You can get every last bit because it's flexible here, but it still has that steel core, so it's super strong, but you're just able to bend it enough to get it right out of the corners without having to pick your pot up, dump it, and then spatula it out. It's amazing. So everybody needs one of these. Okay. Now it says I'm just going to add my meat to this. That's the next step. See, the recipes are so simple. I don't even have to print them off. I just read through it. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Perfect. I got it. It's all perfectly cooked now. So 6 minutes, 2 pounds of ground beef. 6 minutes in the steamer. How fast is that? I'm almost done everything. And I feel like I just hit the record button. Okay, so that is all done and cooked. So I'll show you that's all cooked up in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop it in here and start mixing it up with this. Of course, I have more meat than the recipe calls for. So I'm not sure I'm going to put all of it in there because I want to make sure I have enough sauce. So this pot is a lot bigger than it looks also because it's quite tall. So you actually can get quite a bit of food in there, enough to feed a family of 6 for sure, because that's the size of my family. I'm gonna plate this up and show you what it looks like because it's probably hard to see through the camera and it's kind of dark. I'm going to add some cucumbers to my salad. Again, here comes the dog. She hears the knife and she comes running. Oh my goodness. It's so black outside. It's so dark. It feels like it's like midnight right now. It is not midnight here. Is it dark over like that in Leduc? I know lots of you are in Leduc. Because it's so dark here right now. I feel like I'm doing a cooking demo in the middle of the night. all I'm having in my salad is just some cucumbers. And then I'm gonna pour my dressing in there and toss it around. And I have one more thing very special to put on top of my hamburger helper plate. So I've got here our Better Than Bacon. Have you guys heard of our Better Than Bacon yet? Oh my gosh, if you haven't, you're gonna wanna check it out. Better Than Bacon. It's made with pinto beans. Doesn't have any artificial food dyes, flavorings, anything like that. It smells like real bacon, like real bacon. It has like a nice crispy texture. Bacon, it's so good. So you could literally eat it out of the jar. It's so good. So you know when you don't want to like cook up any bacon, but you want that bacon flavor? This is what you got right here. Good for like carbonaras, Caesar salad, all kinds of things. So I'm gonna top this up with that. So that's it. That's how fast, 20 minutes or less, good food, real results. If your wish list is bigger than your budget, make sure you talk to me about booking a cooking class. And if also, it's so crazy out there right now. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm in the middle of a tornado perhaps. I hope not. Okay, last thing. There's gonna be a shopping link. There's gonna be a shopping link posted. Go ahead and there's a shopping link actually posted at the top. Go ahead and click the link, place your orders. You have until Saturday night to place your orders with Ashley's cooking class. I so appreciate you guys commenting and being part of this week's cooking class. And I will continue the conversation in our group later. Thank you everyone who's out there watching right now. And you go ahead and share down below what you had for dinner tonight. I would love to see a picture or anything that, you know, even just tell me what it is. That's awesome. Okay, thanks so much. Have a good night.